A systematic review of the literature was done on useful visual picture support strategies for helping school students, including those with disabilities, to complete tasks. The initial problem was that teachers have students in their classrooms who struggle with staying on task and completing curriculum and other activities unless a teacher aide is working with them. A research question was formulated and became, what is known about visual picture strategies for helping school students to complete tasks and activities? A list of criteria was set for the scoping search, and the studies to be included in the review had to meet these criteria. Inclusion criteria were school students between 5 and 19 years. Studies must address visual picture strategies, on-task performance and task completion. Classroom tasks or activities must be an intervention trial. Intervention must be done at a school, written in English, date range 2007 and 2025, and be a peer-reviewed article. Exclusion criteria was no studies with children under 5 years old, no adults, no interventions done outside of a school setting, no descriptive studies without an intervention trial, no studies done prior to 2007, non-English studies, and no non-peer-reviewed articles. A scoping search was performed using the databases and a total of 10 studies was selected. Participants included across all studies were 32 children, of which 24 were boys and 8 were girls. 31 students had a special educational need and 1 child was typically developing. All studies implemented an intervention on site at a school with regularly attending school students. The interventions were implemented in either a primary, high school or special school, and subjects included cooking, maths and art classes. All studies aim to examine the effectiveness of visual supports for helping students to stay on task and complete their activities independently without prompting from a teacher aide. Here is a quick overview of the strategies that were implemented with the participants for the interventions. Picture and photo activity schedules. These are sets of pictures, words, or visual representations, such as a timetable or sequence of activities or events that will occur at a specific time of the day. Picture activity schedule books and picture cue cards. These can be removable and be swapped around or used as a single picture prompt. They can be lined up on a wall in the sequence a teacher would like the task completed. Video modeling and video self-modeling. Video modeling involves a student watching a video demonstrating a task and afterwards providing opportunities for the student to undertake the activity and complete the task. Video self-modeling requires the classroom teacher to create videos of the student performing their tasks and displaying their best on-task behavior. A brief overview of the key findings. The purpose across all of the studies reviewed was to highlight visual support strategies, increase the successful outcomes for the students, promote on-task behaviours and promote completion of tasks, both academic and leisure. Results showed all students gained independence. All studies reported on-task performance for students, independent task completion, and all studies reported a reduction in the need for teacher aid prompting. Gaps and limitations. Limitations identified were that students using digital schedules on an iPad application or viewing a task by video modeling would benefit from device training beforehand in order to navigate confidently between applications. Alternative ways of teaching technology needs to be identified to allow more students with disabilities to access visual supports. Other limitations were teaching students how to use the schedules, pre-examined activities for reinforcement, and tasks were not selected for preferred activities with students with autism. A gap in the literature was that very few studies focused on typically developing students, as almost all had participants with either autism or intellectual impairment. Our findings answer the research question. The research question is, what is known about visual picture strategies for helping school students to complete tasks and activities? Well, the findings of the systematic review of case studies indicate that visual picture support strategies are helpful tools to teach skills to students with or without disabilities. These evidence-based strategies help students stay focused on task and complete activities independently while reducing the need for prompting from a teacher aide. The identified audience for practical guide are teachers, teacher aides, school support staff, and school leaders. Included in the guide, strategies, implementation procedures, focus areas, and recommendations. Implications and recommendations for the future are reduced teacher aid support, promoting on-task behaviour, engaging for students to look at while they work. Visual picture supports are evidence-based strategies. They create a memory of the visual for students, easy to implement with all students. Students can have fun making their own schedules, and teachers can make their own individualized visual supports for their students.